It goes on the city of Houston. It goes on the promoters. It goes on the police department, the
Right.
fire
The
department,
untrained medical staff.
Yes, all of them are guilty. In lawsuits, you want to go after the deep pockets, and so he's the likely target to
Right.
go after. However, there's no way you can absolve the city of Houston, the organizers, and everyone who knew his past history and allowed this venue to go forth without ample security. And so I think they need to be tossed into this lawsuit as well, and not just the artists here. Because again, it's another thing of scapegoating the artists, and especially I think there could be some biases there.
I got money on the table. That's what I want to talk about
Money on the table?
today.
Where is that?
Not my money,
Okay.
but $750 million. $750 million. That's how many. That's the amount of money that Travis Scott has in his lawsuits for AstroWorld. I don't know if you guys have seen that on the news or whatever. And I know he's a celebrity and he's got a lot of coins, but $750 million. That's a lot. Now, if you read down in the not comments, the story on the Shade Room, it does say that it's not just him, it's also Apple, Rock Nations are a part of that amount of money, but that's a lot of money. And I know you guys are familiar with the AstroWorld story. A lot of people died. I think there was 125 victims totals and 10 deaths. And so this all happened at his concert. There were hundreds of thousands of people. Well, I don't want to say 100,000 people. There were thousands of people there. You can see it from the video. And everyone wants to blame Travis for this. They want him to pay for their funeral. They want to sue him for the deaths of their family members, hospital bills, all that jazz. But the crazy thing is, if you look at the videos, there's a lot of fans storming the concert. And so they try to blame Travis and say, you know, he should have had more security. There should have been more medical staff there. He should have just stopped the concert and just noticed all these people and the thousands of people passing out, etc. And so again, they're trying to place a lot of blame, but also his fans are pretty crazy, like pretty cray-cray. So there's videos showing them storming, like knocking down all the gates just to get into the concert. So obviously people that didn't pay. Then they have other videos where they have fans picking up the fences and like raising them in the air and throwing them and all that jazz. So again, they're pretty crazy fans. I've been to many a concerts, specifically Beyonce because I love her. And you don't ever have any of that craziness. I don't want to necessarily say ratchetness, but ratchetness going on in these concerts. And so a lot of people are upset. They want Travis to pay for it. Again, $750 million worth of lawsuits. $2 billion. Okay, there's an updated number. He's obviously been on the Shade Room. $2 billion worth of money that Travis is going to have to pay. And the thing about this is, I don't know who Travis's PR people are. They probably should hire Chloe.com, but that's a whole other story for another day.
Yes.
Plug your business.
He has offered to pay for their funeral costs, and a lot of people, the timing of it all, they didn't like that he came out and did that. They appreciated it, but they felt there should have been an apology and all this stuff ahead of just throwing money at them. So there's all this craziness going on. So I just want to know, do you all feel that Travis should pay $750 million worth of lawsuits to all of these people? Like, is that fair when you have crazy fans coming up and throwing gates and bombarding gates and passing out and all of that? I'm just curious. I'll save my input for the end, but I think you guys can already figure out where I'm at.
I'll start you off here real quick.
Okay.
Travis, I can understand why they're putting this on him. Travis has been known in the past to incite some very reckless behavior at his show.
Right. Didn't know that.
It's public knowledge that a Travis Scott show is wild. It's a lot of ruckus. There's a lot of, posturing and gesturing going on there, and they can be kind of violent. With all of that said, the people that I blame, the venues, the sponsors, you know who this artist is. You know that the people who have come to spend money in this concert, you owe them to make this place safe, to have enough security, to have whatever you're doing to keep other people who aren't the concert goers out, and having the proper security to do that. You need to have these things in place. That's not Travis's responsibility. Travis's responsibility contractually is to show up and to perform
and give a good concert
for whatever set minute
right.
or whatever set amount of time, and do what his contract shows. His contract doesn't say anything about having to protect the people that the venues should be responsible for. That's like me coming in here and saying, okay, now David, if somebody comes through that door, you're responsible for the safety of Chloe and myself.
I got it.
You know,
Yeah.
I know you got it because you're on it. But we're here, you're doing this, and you're supposed to then be watching that.
Yeah.
Now, I also did see some things. This is unprecedented. You've had children, unfortunately,
Yes, there's a 9-year-old boy
lost their lives in this
But what were they
situation.
doing there?
Great question.
What were they doing there? Would you take your 9-year-old child to a concert?
I don't.
Not
Would
that
you,
type,
David?
Not that type of concert. No. If it was, and
I
plus-
know babies that
Yeah.
were at Raw when Eddie Murphy put it out in the theaters. I can't condone
That's a
it,
movie theater. We're
but
talking about a concert.
Not-
But you're looking at
with
the
those
content,
crowds.
right?
No.
Would you, David?
No, not at all. Not with those mashed in crowds down there. No way you do. That's irresponsible. The parents who let their child
Okay.
go. And here's the thing, right? I like to believe as a parent, you know where you're sending your child. Will you give them permission to go?
I heard that the child was on his father's shoulders.
Yep.
And then the father fell down, and they got trapped with the child.
Because
Well, that's the father's
Yeah.
fault.
yeah, well, you can't. Well, this is the thing. Crowd surges. That's making everybody. I remember being in one. It is a very helpless situation.
Yeah.
Being stuck in a smaller area. We were down in the Reeves Center, down there near Howard University.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a fight that happened, and everybody went from being in the middle all the way to the right. And it's like being hit by a giant tidal wave of people. And those people that were lined up along that right side caught the brunt of it because they were pushed into a wall. And then from
Wow.
that, the reverb then took everybody over to the left. It was a crazy situation that, thank God, I was in the middle of it, so I didn't take the brunt of it.
Yeah.
But crowd surges, I mean, yeah, he had his kid on his shoulders, and that, of course, comes with a lot of, you're liable for that because you got him up on your
Yeah.
shoulders
Yeah.
so he can see the crowd, because if you put him down low, little boy ain't going to be able to see it. So it's a terrible situation.
And I'm not trying to take away from the fact that a little boy died, because that is very tragic. He was only 9 years old, so I do
Yes.
feel for his family. However, I do feel as to put it on an artist for the behavior of the fans that are in the crowd, I feel like that's a lot. And there are some clips that show Travis kind of stopping and saying, "Hey, like, what's going on over there?" Like, you see
Go get this.
some of that going on. But if you're giving a live performance, how attentive are you to, like, people in the crowd or things that are moving around? Like, you're not really that attentive. But I do feel sorry for the victims that did pass. I do want to
Yeah.
say that.
Let me just say this. When I heard this, here's where I think the liability goes. It goes on the city of Houston. It goes on the promoters. It goes on the police department,
Right.
the fire
The
department,
untrained medical staff.
Yes, all of them are guilty, right? And with Travis Scott, here's the thing. I hope that he had a limited liability contract or some type of insurance, because here's the thing. In lawsuits, you want to go after the deep pockets. And so he's the likely target to
Right.
go after. However, there's no way you can absolve the city of Houston, the organizers, and everyone who knew his past history and allowed this venue to go forth without ample security. And so I think they need to be tossed into this lawsuit as well, and not just the artists here. Because, again, it's another thing of scapegoating the artists, and especially I think there could be some biases there. Let's go after this. No way in the world, if I'm the mayor of that city, I'm going to allow certain things to happen without making sure that the people, my guests and residents, are safe when they come to the venue. Yeah.
And I also feel like Travis's name is starting to be tainted now because there's other concerts that he was supposed to be at. I'm not sure if he pulled out himself or people just removed his name, and I'm pretty sure he was replaced with someone white, but that's a story for another day. But his name is being tainted. He's having money taken away from him. Sponsors are pulling away from him, and etc.
Exactly.
All because people want to be rowdy at his concert. And I'm not saying there should be no blame for him, but to pay $750 million for a concert for a performance that you've trained for, you've done all this work for, and you didn't know that. Well, maybe he did know his fans were going to be like that because you said his fans have a history of that.
But that's the problem. In the past, he's amped his fans up, like, "Hey, let's go in. Let's
But he's not making them take drugs.
No, he's not. He's not making anybody take drugs. But for rowdy behavior, he's encouraged it at other venues before. This is how they know that I'm going to Travis Scott concert. I can come here. I can act like this. So there is a little bit of liability.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's on him because this is
Not $750 million worth.
Not saying 750.
$2 billion.
$2 billion. I'm not saying any of those numbers, but Travis is in a very unique situation right now where I think Travis needs to step back and he needs to really reevaluate the way he's been doing things. When you have a concert, you've condoned certain behaviors, and now the worst has happened. Because nobody wants to, you go to a Travis Scott concert and you could possibly die. No one's thinking that.
Right.
I know the father who brought his 9-year-old son.
Who shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
He wasn't thinking that. I know the other children or adults who died did not think this was going to be the last thing that I was going to do. So this, in some way, shape, or form, is probably weighing on him. Everything that he says and everything that he does right now is under a microscope. The best thing that I think that he could do is take some time off. He's got the money. Just sit down for a second, figure out what your next move is, and figure out how you can better yourself going into the next situation. Because this is not something that you need to allow anymore because of what happened in this situation.
I agree, and I definitely think he should. I didn't read the apology statement, but rethink his apology statement and how he's going to, I want to say, help these people heal. Because it's one to just, I'll just throw money for your funeral. We know that's like $5 to you to just pay for a funeral. That's nothing. So I think he also needs to reevaluate how he shows up and apologizes. I think he could have done that better. So there are a lot of things that he could have done better. So I'm not saying that he's perfect, but I don't think that he should be paying $2 billion with the lawsuits.
Yeah, I agree, Chloe. And let's get back to it, right? The artist has some liability, but who's responsible for public safety? That's the critical question that I have. And whoever that is, that agency or that governing body, they're liable here. Because if I invite you to come into my city and I sanction it, and I know you're rowdy, I know you're going to create some ruckus in the crowd, I can't sit back now and say, it was the artist.
Yeah.
That's the scapegoat. So I'm really wrestling with this right now. I do agree that he has some liability, but again, the sanctioned body and those responsible for public safety are guilty as all get out here.
I agree. And I say all that to say, Travis, get you a better apology. And y'all stop going to Travis Scott concerts. Go to a Beyonce concert. It be lit and we don't be dying out in there in them streets. But go ahead, David. I'm going to hand it over to you.
That's good stuff, Chloe. Look, I have something. I'm sure this is going to... Thomas...
I'm just saying. My life ain't never been threatened at a Beyonce concert.
Not at a Beyonce concert. That's why she's fly, right?
Exactly.
That's why
Queen Bee energy. Go ahead.
There you go. Okay. This is something, look, I know it's going to impact everybody, and we're not going to die from it. It's going back into the office in 2022. Look,
I don't know.
No.
But I don't know about that. We ain't going to die from it.
No.
I don't know.
I may just pass out before I'm supposed to be there.
We've been dressed up from the waist up for over a year, right? So